Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 26th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. Check out some of this dense fog across eastern BC, eastern Washington. You can see it trying to burn off a little bit here, but pretty dense fog between Spokane and places like Moses Lake down towards the Tri-Cities here. Eastern Oregon doing a bit better, but the Idaho Panhandle, western Montana pretty socked in also. Some pretty stagnant air with this ridge dominating our weather. You see some fog moving around across western Washington, down the Willamette Valley also, and this is going to be a reoccurring theme here over the next few days. But the extended forecast does look quite active here, and we're going to dive into those details here as we go through the video. It looks like the storm train is going to be pointed right back at the Pacific Northwest with some interesting weather showing up in the models. Taking a look at Portland here, National Weather Service, you can see there is a beach hazard statement out there for the sneaker ways. Just because it's sunny and it's not stormy, do not let your guard down, folks. Do not leave your pets or your children in the surf zone out there, and do not turn your back on the ocean. You do not want to be around when one of those sneaker waves starts moving those big logs out there. So heads up for that. And driving in fog, safety tips to remember. It seems kind of trivial, but you guys know how this can be when you start piling up traffic there on the freeway. You can cause some pretty significant accidents and injuries and whatnot. So if you want to pause this and take a look at the 9 recommendations here from the National Weather Service, Pendleton, Oregon, check it out. Looking at SeaTac, the last couple of nights have been pretty darn right frosty in the morning. Some freezing fog out there, some black ice on some of the roadways. Walking the dog, I noticed that last night and this morning also. And pretty chilly temperatures there. So that's going to be something that's going to be ongoing over the next few days as well. And if you want a weather station to be able to look at that temperature when you wake up in the morning and see if there's ice forming on your driveway or some of the roadways around, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Highly recommend this station. You can see that it stores all this data for you in the cloud, and you can zoom in and out on this graph. Got down to like 30.7, I believe, this morning. And you can see the afternoon highs as we warm up and some of that nice sunshine. So we're going to have that sunshine. Enjoy it here for the next few days before the storms return. This is looking at the European. So this is visibility in miles, and this is just quickly to show you that we have the fog this morning. We're going to have the fog Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning. You can see it redevelop there. And then finally, we start to switch things up. Thursday, maybe not. We start to get some clouds coming towards the coastline as our next system arrives. But enjoy those sunny afternoons and watch out for the foggy, icy mornings. Taking a look at the European, this is the 0Z as of yesterday afternoon. We're looking at general ridge and trough position at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. See the ridge dominating our weather in the meantime here. Starts to eventually weaken. A system moves into California here. Then we finally get some storms returning as we go towards the end of the week. And some of these could be strong at times. You can see some interesting transient ridging here, but the Gulf of Alaska is active. We got atmospheric river potential. We got windstorm potential. And so fun stuff here, at least for the weather watchers here across the Pacific Northwest. Now, taking a look at the GFS, this is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. Let's put this into motion, something similar with that initial system moving into Northern California here. Finally, we break down that ridging and we start to bring some systems in here. Look at some of this storm activity here. As you can see, this would be quite the punch here on the GFS. And both the European and the GFS have been showing strong lows diving somewhere into the Pacific Northwest during this time frame. And then we kind of bring that Gulf of Alaska trough in here, bring that warm southwest flow with atmospheric river potential on in through the December 4th, 5th, and 6th time frame here. And I'll show you more on that here in a moment. You can see we look to remain active through the early portion of December. This is looking at the entire Pacific Ocean, or the northern Pacific Ocean, I should say. Here's the Hawaiian Islands. We've got Alaska, Washington, Oregon. Here's Japan off to the left, and we're looking at the jet stream at about 30,000 feet. You can see the ridging here that's keeping us nice, foggy, and dry across the Pacific Northwest. System moves into California. You can see it located there. And then you can see the jet stream start to get more active and bring precipitation into the Pacific Northwest. And look at the jet stream just extend all the way across the ocean. That means a stormy pattern likely incoming here as we go on in through early portion of December, and we continue to get bombarded. Then we even turn to a more warm southwest flow here, which could mean some flooding concerns through the extended. But right now, it's still fantasy. We have plenty of time to work out those details over the next few days. Taking a look at the GFS, this is hot off the presses, the 6-hour precipitation totals and mean sea level pressure. The red line and the blue line here are 850 millibar temperatures. So it kind of gives you an idea what the temperatures are at 5,000 feet. So if we go ahead and put this into motion, you can see that initial storm system into California. A few nice dry days here for the Pacific Northwest. Enjoy that while it lasts, because it looks like it's coming to an end as we go towards the end of the week. And look at this low pressure system out here. The GFS on this morning's deterministic run throws into the Pacific Northwest. Very powerful pressure gradient associated with that. It'll change, but again, the models have been showing that from time to time over the last few days, and you can see atmospheric river potential, additional fronts, one after the other, just continue on in through about the December 10th timeframe there and continuing on after that, it looks like. But anyway, we'll figure that out as we go, and we'll continue to revisit that. Seattle, Tacoma, you can clearly see we're going to be dry up until probably sometime on the day Thursday, and maybe pushing that off a little bit further. Sometimes the models will back up a little bit, but you can see the wet weather returning here, and a particularly wet system here trying to come in as we go through the early portions of next week. Astoria, something similar there as well. Look at some of these totals in the ensemble. Even the control run at 2.7 inches in a 24-hour period. Here's Tillamook's wind speeds, and you can see these bigger windstorms kind of intermixed here. We haven't focused, we're not getting too much agreement on any one time frame, maybe a little bit here for the 4th and 5th, but again, we'll just have to watch this as we go. You can see we have a few days to work out these details. Here's Hoquiam, even the very conservative GFS. It's usually very conservative with its wind speeds here on its ensemble members, and it does show some windy conditions. This is Hoquiam, Washington. Looking at the European, so let's check out what it has to say. You can see we're going to be dry for the next few days, as I've been saying, and you can see that system moving to California. Finally, a frontal system arrives Thursday night, fairly weak, but then some stronger systems start rolling in here, and you can see some atmospheric river potential and some strong low pressure systems diving into western BC or western Washington. We'll just continue to watch that over the next few days. But you can see kind of the stormy pattern here continue on into early and even all the way towards, December 10th timeframe there. And then more of a chilly pattern showing up for the European, way off in the extended there, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Looking at the GFS hot off the presses, total precipitation in inches as we scroll through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can see nothing coming yet. And then by Friday morning, we start to get some precipitation, actually Friday afternoon. And then as we go on in through the weekend upcoming and then early next week, you can clearly see the storm train pointed back at the Pacific Northwest. I mean, look at this morning's GFS trend. Some really intense total precipitation amounts across some of the coastal range of Oregon, up and down the Cascades as well. And this is going to switch around a bit, but you can see the rain shadowing here east of the Cascades also. But yeah, pretty wet signal starting to show up in some of these model runs, as you can see. Looking at the GFS ensemble mean. So this is the average of all 30 ensemble members, and this is total precipitation. We're going to fly through this really quick just to show you that we do have some ensemble agreement. And actually, let's update that because I know there's more data embedded in that. And you can see pretty wet solutions here, even on the ensemble mean of the GFS. Stampede Pass, you can see we might get some snow arriving here as we go through this weekend, so heads up for that. Some mountain snow is possible here. We'll look at some of the wider maps here as we go on through tomorrow, and you can see nothing expected up until maybe later on Thursday. And here's Whistler. Check it out. Some snow arriving probably as we go through the weekend here, and you can kind of see the active pattern incoming. Looking at Stevens Pass here, so you can see that as we go through the end of the week, it would get some pretty chilly air in here, but you see this bounce back here, that warm air here, that could be some atmospheric river potential here. And if we drop some snowfall in this time frame and then bring some heavy rain after that, that's what can cause some flooding here across Pacific Northwest. So kind of an interesting look at thing. The cross section here, the top of this diagram here would be at 10,000 feet. You're looking at about 5,000 feet here up in the atmosphere. Of course, Stevens Pass is around 4, so the surface temperature is going to be below freezing for those few days, but then you get that warmer air in here with the atmospheric river and start to bring some flooding concerns. This is White Pass. You can kind of see the same thing here with that warm up potentially coming on in through the next week here. I don't like to see that here, but yeah, anyway, we're still not doing too bad as far as river heights or stream heights at this point. So we have plenty of time to work out any kind of flooding concerns incoming. But here's the 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook. You can clearly see the above average signal here. An 8 to 14 day temperature here. We're looking at above average signal as we get on into early December here. Maybe some warm atmospheric river conditions again. And here's the experimental product here. Let's see if this is updated yet today. And it looks like it goes out through December 8th. But you can see the slight risk for heavy precipitation. They're talking about the winds here across a lot of the Northwest. They see the storm train is coming and the risk of heavy snow up and down the Cascades, even down towards the Sierra Nevada, some of the Rocky Mountains there as well. Anyway, yeah, I got some good shots. Maybe I'll make another video out there. So it was a pretty interesting morning out there. I think I saw some steam devils on the Puget Sound, believe it or not. I'll have to look at my video here in a moment and try to confirm that, but it was a pretty interesting looking morning. I was taking some footage of SeaTac. You could see the tower pointing itself out of the top of the fog layer, and the entire airport just basically coated in the fog. Pretty interesting seeing that. You could also see some of the taller buildings across downtown Seattle peeking out, and you could see Mount Baker this morning as well. And the GOES 18 satellite imagery, you can see Mount Rainier right there. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. We'll do this again tomorrow. Looking forward to what the extended forecast brings here as we go through the models here today and tomorrow. But yeah, we'll do the normal briefing tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.